Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Light Council series. The show where we have enlightened conversations to awaken your light within and help elevate the world. I'm so excited to have my guest, Gina, today. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Elizabeth Plançon, the creator of the Purpose and Abundance Activator Method, which dissolves your blocks, your limitations, and calibrates your frequency to your next level of purpose and abundance that you are meant for. So, thank you, Gina, for being here. I'm so excited to have you. I would love for you to introduce yourself, tell us what you do, how you love to help and serve others, like what lights you up with your work.
Well, thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to be here. And yeah, my name is Gina Strole. I'm an intuitive healer and spiritual mentor. I've been doing this work for, I don't know, very long time now, and I really help women really step into their best, happiest, healthiest, most abundant lives, kind of like the same thing that you do. So I've
Mhm.
created a Rise program where inside there I work with women and really help them let go of these blocks, even though that's not really, that word's kind of a trigger word. But anyway,
Right.
we let go of the energy that's stored inside of our body to really help us step into a new, more open, enlightened way of being in the world. So I'm honored to be here. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I love that so much. I love how we all have a different way of bringing this world work to the world, right? Like we all have different types of people that we work with, and you're working with women who really want to up level their lives, and where I'm working with more of those people that are here to be of service to others, right?
Yes.
And really step into their purpose to help others so they can do things like you do, right? In helping
Yes.
others. And I love how you kind of say I don't really always use the word blocks, right? But I think
Yeah.
it's what people kind of like
Yes.
connect with, right? Like they resonate with. But I always say, like, you're not really blocked, right? Like when they're like, your chakras are blocked. They're not really blocked. They're just not operating at optimal speed, right? So, like, there
Right.
are things that we store in our body that just keep us at the level that we're at or not able to see beyond or feel a certain way or we keep repeating patterns and over again or the emotions that are stored in our body come out in disease, right? Because of how there's so many things that go into that word block. So it's kind of like take it with a grain of salt, but it's just
Exactly.
what I think the human mind can wrap their head around, right? So like what is your favorite way to help people through things like that?
Well, it's interesting you talk. I just actually wrote an email the other day to my email list, and I was talking about my email family, and I was talking about that. I was like, I used to use this word blocks like freely, and I've realized the more I do this work, I had one of my mentors say to me, if you think about somebody having a blockage in their heart, like that's a big problem. And so, we have to think of energy as the same way. We don't want it to be
Right.
blocked, but it's a word, just like you say, that everybody kind of understands. So we do use
Hmm.
those. So my favorite way is using energy, of course, to really tap into that and work through with my clients. I use a lot of intuitive healing with them, and we really tap into those things that are really holding them back, that are keeping them stuck. And I'm like you, it's really not a block. It's just a way of thinking. It's just a way of being. It's just a process or a way, a pattern that they have really learned to live by. And as we tap into those and really release that energy that's kind of pent up in there, and then work with them and their changing the way that they see it and view it, because it's only part of it to me to go, and it's great that we go and re-release it, but now we've got to create new patterns, new ways of being in our life. So to me it's kind of a twofold process here
Hmm.
of really identifying and readjusting and that, and then working to readjust it in our outside world. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so much of that, what you say, I so resonate with and teach the same way is that we have these things that we can let go of, we can release, so we can make room for the new beliefs to come through. Okay, energy blurb there. Sorry. Anyway, so what I was saying is, we make this room for what no longer serves us, right? So that we can bring in more like the new things, right? Making space for the new. But you're so right, is like we have to reprogram. We have to fill that space with something new. Otherwise, it's just going to fill back up with the old patterns, the old thoughts, right? So that's why we want to do the reprogramming. So, do you have like a specific method or trick or tool that you use when reprogramming?
It really depends on the person. I really am really working with the person and what they
Yeah.
need because I've been doing this work for a very long time. And so I've gotten really good at tapping in and going, okay, affirmations aren't going to work for this person. And, we need to do more of this kind of thing with them. And so it really kind of depends. I have multiple ways of doing it.
Hmm.
And the biggest part for me has been this last year has been really stepping into this place of teaching them to really create a new identity for themselves. It's not just about, the mindset work is wonderful. It's fabulous. I'm
Yeah.
not dogging it in any way, but as we can step in and see ourselves actually different and doing the different things, that's where I'm seeing these big, huge shifts in myself and in the
Hmm.
people that I work with is really helping them. In fact, inside of all my programs and everything that I do, I really help them learn to identify where they're at right now and see where they want to go and then help
Yeah.
them build that bridge to get to where they want to go.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool process to me to watch everybody do
Yeah.
that. And I started it with myself. I was like, okay, if I don't want to be this anymore, what do I want to be? What do I want that to
Yeah.
look like? And what needs to shift inside of me? How do I need to think, be, act differently in order to get where I want to go? And
Yeah.
so that is really that creating that bridge there.
I mean, that is pretty much the description of manifestation,
Yes.
right? Like exactly that, simply put. Like, how do I have to think, feel, behave, act in order to change my reality? And I love that
Yes.
you talk about building the bridge because we could say, yes, I'm here. We'll just use money because that's the simplest
An
example,
example. Yep.
right? It's always the easiest thing. You could be here at making, I make $5,000 a month. I would love to make 20,000, 30, 50,000, whatever that is a month, right? But like we have to build that ladder of belief in between because your nervous system isn't regulated, right? To go from 5 to 50 just like that. And
Yep.
if you do, you haven't expanded the capacity to actually hold on to it.
Mhm.
And so there's like that in between work of building that bridge. So I think that's such an important piece that there was like the missing piece almost, right? Is like that expanding of the capacity, building that bridge and like letting it unfold naturally to that, right?
Yes.
So I really love that. I would love to know like if you had a tip for someone like what is like the first step of creating the awareness? Like how do they even create the awareness of what their current beliefs are, right? Like where they currently are at.
Well, they've got to get real with themselves, and that means getting down in the dirt, like
Yeah.
because most people don't want to get down in the dirt. They think I've seen a lot of people, we've kind of gone on this manifestation route, so we'll go there. Like
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people who go, "Well, I just want to do this, so I'm just going to be this," and it's like, well, how do you know where you are? Because you're
Hmm.
missing a valuable part of this process here, really identifying where you're at. So for me, we've got to get down in the dirt with ourselves, and we've got to start asking ourselves the hard questions. This is where it's great to meet with someone who can help you do that. Like,
Yeah.
because not everyone is open enough to really see themselves for who they truly are. And the thing I think we get hung up on is we think it's bad. And it's not
Mm.
bad. It's just how you've learned to be in the world. And that's to me what that step of like what holds people back from really discovering that part of themselves. And so when we can step out of the it's bad or wrong, because it's not bad or wrong, it just is like,
Yeah.
so when we can step out of that and then identify who we are or work with someone to help you do that and help you, okay, so this is where I'm at, then where do I want to go? Because we've got to get real with ourselves and we have to be okay to do that. This is part of the
Hmm.
healing process, part of the manifestation process. To me, it's the basis of everything that we do.
Yeah.
And it's okay to get down and dirty with ourselves. And it's okay to realize that, I've even had some realizations of myself this last year. And I was like, wow, I've been doing this work for a long time. And I'm like, oh, no wonder it felt so hard. Like I believed it had to be hard. Like, that
Hmm.
suffering was noble, it's like, and so, but we have to understand ourselves on a level. And to me, it comes in layers too of
Yeah.
just because you discovered yourself last year doesn't mean you can't rediscover yourself in every month. Holy cow, like every
Right.
day. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's always, like you said, there's layers, right? There's of anything, of healing, of awareness, there's always layers that we can uncover. And at every level that you level up in your consciousness, your awareness, your identity, right? There's
Mhm.
going to be new layers of limiting beliefs that come up for you. And so, yeah, it is that awareness piece. And and so preach this all the time is we give meaning to everything. So, how can we go to and return to that place of neutrality and being in neutrality of being like, it's not neither good or bad, right? It just is, just like you said, because
Yeah.
we decide as humans what is good or bad. Because and I use this example all the time because I think it's hilarious, right? Like, my husband thinks Taco Bell is the best thing in the world, and it is his like treat when I'm out of town. And like he's just like, You're traveling, I'm getting Taco Bell because I don't like it. I think it's disgusting, right? So
Yeah.
it's really just so per each person, and there is no right or wrong. Like I don't think he's wrong. I just don't agree with him, right? But it doesn't
Exactly.
make him wrong. So we don't have to wrong people because we don't agree with them,
Yeah.
right? It's to each their own, and it's creating that awareness. And the same thing with healing, right? You can look at something that you feel like a trauma or an experience or whatever it is that you've healed, right? That you think you've healed, and
Mhm.
then it will come up again and
Mhm.
again and again. And you're like, what the heck? I've already healed this, right? It happened with me with the passing of my father, like healing it and healing it. I'm like, and I remember the last time I was like, I've healed this like multiple times. Why is this coming up again when I was in a
Mhm.
at a an event, right? And we were tapping in, what do you need to heal today? What do you need to let go of? And I
Yeah.
was like, I don't understand. I'm fine, you know? And then as we were going through the event, realizing that I had never healed or like addressed the inner child inside of
Ah,
me that was dealing with that passing of my father, right? And that was the next level, like the other layer that I hadn't touched yet that still needed work. So that's what I'm saying. It's like you peel like think about it, you're peeling back the layers of like adulthood,
mhm.
then teenagehood, then like, and then getting to that child. Like we
That
had to pull
child.
back the layers. I couldn't just jump right in.
No.
So it's so true with all of that.
Well, and I think too, we need to address that inner child layer. One that I've had come up a lot for myself too, and a lot of my clients too, is that victim layer that we have that we want to like,
Mm,
and most of that one for me kind of got shoved. I mean, I have to admit, even though it kind of got put on the back burner because I'd just tell that layer to, you know what, suck it up, girlfriend. Like,
yeah.
and I'm realizing, oh, you know what? I need to work with her and embrace her. And it's not about giving into her, but it's I see you, I hear you, it's and as we're talking about finding these layers, one of the things that I didn't mention this last time, I use journaling a lot. And I use
Mm,
it with my clients a lot. And I ask them questions and ask them to journal about it. And we'll do specific questions for, whatever's going on with them to really help them get to the core and then ask why and why and why, kind of like the 2-year-old, until we really get to that core layer of, oh, that's the belief, that's the pattern, that, what it is down there in the deep level. So, yeah.
I love that because I was just gonna ask you, well, how do you get someone to really tap in when they're journaling and really get to the bottom of it? Because sometimes
Why?
when I journal, I'll like surface level it, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, whatever, blah blah blah. Okay, done. But so you're saying like after you write it all out, then ask why again and
Why?
keep asking why. And so
Yep.
how do you know when you're done asking why?
You will feel it. You will feel it in your gut of knowing that, oh, it really comes down to I don't feel good enough. Or,
Mm,
that's what this is all about, is because I never felt like I was worthy, or I never felt good enough, or I never felt supported, or, whatever that core layer finally is. Because usually when we ask ourselves a question, well, how do you feel about money? Well, I love money and I think money is fabulous. And I think, no, you don't, because if you did, you would be in a different. So, why do you feel that way? Well, because I'm pretending today because I want it to feel good, because that's what we do. Well, why are you doing that? And then we
mm-hmm.
start really getting to the nitty gritty core. Well, why again? Why would you? Who taught you? You can even start asking, well, who taught you that? Who
Mm-hmm.
who who addressed that in your life? And it's not because we're blaming, but it's because then we can really get to those roots.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was taught that my dad thought that money was hard and difficult and I would never have any and we weren't allowed to have it. And if you did, you were a bad person, whatever. Well, why do you
Mm,
feel that way? So you can take it down just as far as you want to go with it. But this
yeah.
is where we have to really get out of our head and get into our heart And,
Mm-hmm.
our head's going to tell us, oh, we're fine.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
soul's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no."
Well, your soul knows better, right? Because
Exactly.
if you, I mean, if you're in a position where you don't love every aspect of your life wholeheartedly, or it's not even that, right? Like you can love where you're at in the present moment,
Yeah.
but you know you want more, or you know you
Yep.
want something different, or you know you
Yep.
want to change, right? Like I think that's really actually an important point is loving where you're at now for what it
Hmm.
is, no matter what, because there's always something you can learn, how you can grow, and it was
Yeah.
here for a reason. And then deciding where is it that I would love to go. And
Yes.
so really asking yourself, so like if you had like if someone's in that position, that situation, if you had like one question that they should ask themselves and maybe journal on to help them, identify this is where I'm at, this is where I want to go, what would that question be so they could like go and walk away from this and start journaling on it?
I would ask myself, well, for one, ask yourself, where do I want to go? Let's
Mm-hmm.
identify where you want to go. And then ask yourself, well, if I'm looking at that, who am I today? And that's the question that I always ask is, who am I today? How do I feel today? How do I show up today? How am I being today in the world, And then we can start really getting down to those, well, who am I today? Well, if I want to be this abundant, rich person that feels rich over here, whatever that identity is for you, that dollar amount is for you. If we're over here and today I'm feeling sorry for myself, I don't feel worthy, I don't feel good enough in my business, I don't feel like I've shown up like I should, I never feel like I do enough. We've got some work to do in there, but we
Mm-hmm.
have to understand those. And it's not that those are bad. It's just that's where you started. Like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
but we've got to ask, who am I today? Who am I
Yeah.
being today is actually even the better question is, who am I being today?
How am I showing up today?
Yep.
And then I think the follow-up question to that is like, okay, well, I know where I want to go. Well, who do I have to be for
Be.
that to happen? For that,
Yes.
how does this person who has these
Hmm.
goals behave on a daily basis? How do
Yep.
they feel? How do they
Hmm.
act, right?
Yep.
And I think an important part of this too is really allowing yourself to explore and play in what it is you actually want. Because 9 times out of 10, when you ask, I don't know if this happens with your clients, but I know it happens with mine. When I ask my clients, what do you want? They don't know. They
Uh-huh.
don't know. Or they'll say, oh, I would love, they'll give me like two or three things. And I was like, that's it? Like if money was no limit, right? Like there's no such thing as money and you just made a Christmas list to Santa or whatever, right? And you get all of it. What do you want, right? Like give me all of it.
I actually just taught a class on this. I do an in-person group in my local area, and we all meet at a cabin in the woods, which is super cool. But anyway,
Cool.
we did a abundance class this last week, and that's what we did abundance 202. We did not do the basic, duo. I'm like, okay, let's get to the nitty gritty of it. Let's like up game it here. And so we were talking about this very thing. And one of the girls in the class said, well, I know three things right now that I would love. And I know that those have been on my list for a very long time. And I said, why
Mm-hmm.
only three? Well,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know anything else. And I said, this is a worthiness thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a worthiness issue because, and so their homework was to go home and write out 51 things.
Yeah,
And
that's what
she
I
looked,
tell my students too. I
she looked
well,
at me
I
like I
guess
was crazy. I was like, yes, 51
I
things.
love that you do the 51, not
I
just
do 50. It's
50,
not 50, it's
51.
51. I was like, 51 things. And she's like, well, how do I do that? And I said, you start dreaming like you did as a child. You
Yes.
didn't take the J.C. Penney catalog, and now I'm like going to really date myself, but you didn't
Yeah,
take the J.C. Penney catalog, the Christmas catalog that came, and
right,
said, oh, I only want one thing. Like, come on,
right.
give me a break.
You circled all the things.
And we folded the pages down and we had like the whole thing. Like, I'm laughing because all
Okay.
I'm seeing is a dang patch kid in that whole thing. But, anyway, that's a whole other story. But yeah, I was like, we need to act like we're Christmas shopping again
Yeah.
for ourselves and that we're not buying it. Santa Claus is bringing the delivery.
Right, right. I'm picturing, okay, this is really, I mean, I don't know if you guys had this by you guys, but the Montgomery Ward
Yes.
catalog, like, wasn't it like huge? It was like this, like
Yes.
thick, right? And I used to put Post-its in it, right? Like
Yes.
on every page and be like, and write on each Post-it what I wanted every page. And it was so big, right? But it was like, you could have all of this, right? I mean,
Yep.
obviously we didn't, but like,
Yeah, things have changed a little bit though. When we're stepping
Yeah.
into the manifestation, we're discovering. We're really like in this discovery process of understanding that, you know, this is what we can do. This is what we can create with our energy. But we've got to
Yeah.
heal our energy and be open to receive that and create this beautiful container that can hold all the Montgomery Ward things.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Right.
really, that's
Right.
what we're doing here. You know, we're kind of being funny with the whole Christmas catalog, but it's great because at the time we're recording this, we're
Right.
stepping into the Christmas season. So that's kind of why we're talking about it. But
Right. It just came to
um,
mind. Yeah.
it
But
did. It
for
just came
sure.
to mind. But yeah, absolutely. Like we've got to create that container. That's what I talked about in my class too. I'm like, do you have a container for wealth? You know,
Hmm.
you if you just want to have this thing out here that says, "Yeah, I want that," but you have no way of bringing it in, or even we need a business, we need a flow too. We need a few things here to help us, but that's our container. That's how we do the container. So, and
Yeah.
creating our energetic field so that we can handle it, be in it.
Yeah. Yeah, and also too, like, and that's why I usually, if I'm teaching my clients about manifestation, if that's what we're working on and it's a
Mhm.
dollar amount, I want them to set that dollar amount goal,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because you want to be clear about, and it's not only like a measuring tool, right? We can use it as a measuring tool, but also like you want to be clear with the universe how much you want because
Mhm.
the universe doesn't know the difference between big and small,
Nope.
right? And a lot and not a lot. Let's just like it doesn't know the difference between bad and good. So you could just be like, I want more money. And then all of a sudden you received an extra dollar and you're like, what
You
the
got more
heck,
money.
universe? And the universe is like, I gave you more money. Like, what do you want from me? You asked for
Mhm.
more money, I gave it to you. Like, I can't
Yep.
help it. You didn't tell me how much you wanted. Like, so you want to get specific, and there is a whole thing with like human design where like some people are specific manifestors and unspecific or general or whatever it's called. I'm not a human design expert by any
No, I'm
means.
not either, but yes, I
But
know what you're saying.
you know what I mean? But like, yeah, you can be a little bit more loosey goosey if that's your chart. Go look it up and Google it. Not an expert, or but
Yeah.
in my mind, like I need to be crystal clear what it is that I want, so I can visualize it, right? Like I can
Yep.
imagine it in my mind, so I actually can see it and hold on to that thing with an emotion attached to it.
And then we've got to get rid of that wobble so that we don't go back and forth when things look like they're not working out for us. We've got to step into it and keep going. I actually just had this last month. I'll share so I had some things in my business going on that by all 3D world observation looked like it was going to fall flat on its face, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept holding the vision, holding the vision, holding
Yeah.
the vision, staying in it, knowing that it was done. And sometimes I would have those little panic because, we start looking at our 3D world and we're thinking, oh my gosh, this is not going to work. It's going to fall flat on our face. And I'd
Right.
have to redirect myself again, calm my nervous system down, do the thing. Well, we had the Hail Mary shot of all things. And then literally at the last moment, it all worked out as perfectly as it could have. And it was a dollar amount that I needed in my business. It needed to happen and it had to happen by a certain day. And it
Mm-hmm.
actually did. Like,
Beautiful.
and it's amazing to me when we hold the thing. But even for me, I was thinking about my past, and even with the clients that I work with, I think I would have caved. I would have caved in the past in that because
Yeah.
it appeared like all things in my world like it wasn't going to happen.
Right.
And
Right.
it did. Like it
And
did. So,
and that's the belief, right?
mhm,
It's the belief and the knowing and having the
yes,
certainty. That's when things show up in your environment, in the
absolutely.
manifestation realm, world, whatever you want to call it, is when you
Mhm.
hold on to the vision and the belief. And we don't, even if the date were to pass, right?
Yes.
It's just a measuring tool. It doesn't mean it's not coming.
Mhm.
So it is not giving up and believing that anything can happen in the 11th hour. And I
Yes.
have a similar story, and my audience, some of my audience knows the stories because I tell it often, but Summer, you were really new to me. And so like that happened with manifesting our house, like our dream house. For a year and a half, I wrote in my journal every day. I'm so happy and grateful now that we live in our dream home on at least an acre of land by December 15th, 2022. And I had that for two reasons because one, it was because my daughter was going to be in fifth grade at that point, and I didn't want to move her after. that point and to
Uh-huh.
start junior high in a new place. I wanted her a chance to make friends at the elementary level school, right? And two, I was leaving my full-time job at the end of the year. So obviously, for reasons, right, to be approved for all the things, you need to
Mhm.
have that stable income and not just start a brand new company in like full time, right? Like I had was doing both at the same
Yes.
time. But mortgage companies don't like those
No.
non don't like you not having that stable income unless you've been doing like in it for more like full time for however many years, right? Like
Yes.
I was making money in both places, obviously. But anyway, I digress. So we had a house. We were gonna move in. We sold our house. We were like, it's gonna close. We had another house we were gonna move into in November, and then the house we were gonna buy fell through. And we decided to stick with it, to let our house go that we were living in, to sell it to the new buyers because it was a good time in the market. And we didn't want to take the house away from them because
No.
they had loved it so much. Like we had taken, like it got taken away from us. But I held the faith, the vision that I'm like, nope, we will be fine. We'll figure it out. It's coming. No matter what, we're going to be okay. We packed our entire house up into storage. Let me tell you how fun that was. And
Yeah.
then we moved in with my mom, and this was in like November with not a clear plan of where we were going. And I kid you not, we closed on our house that I'm in right now, which is better than the original house that we were going to buy, of
Okay.
course, right? On December 12th, 2022. So 3 days before my goal of that I've been
Mhm.
writing for a year and a half, it came to fruition because I
Yeah.
held the vision. And also, something better came along. So it's almost like trusting the universe. Like, if it
Hmm.
doesn't come this way in the way that you thought, something better is on the way, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and that I think that's one of the biggest things is understanding this or something better and letting it be
Yeah.
that something better for you. Like, let and get out of the way. Like, quit trying to micromanage the whole thing and figure out how it's going to happen. And, and just like you, we were doing things in the middle. I think a lot of people think too that we just sat here and twiddle our thumbs and,
Right.
no, there's things
Right.
going on. You're off working on your loan and you're doing all the things and you're working like we're doing all the things. That was
Right.
me too. I was over still doing business stuff, still talking to people, still in the process and
Yeah.
following my intuitive hits and doing those things. And that's how we get to where we're going
Right. You
is
still have to take action. And I think that's a
right.
big piece and that when people were first hearing about manifestation and teaching about it, they think you just sit on your meditation pillow and have the visualize and say, "Thank you, universe, for these things." And then you just wait. No, I
Yeah.
mean, you
You
can just
can. And
visualize.
sometimes it does work that way. Like,
Right.
and I've said that some days. I'm like, how could this just be easy today? How could this just fall in my lap?
Yeah.
And things just fall in my lap, it's like, but does it usually work out that way all the time? No, because you need to make that phone call and you need to call this
Right.
person and you need to, oh, you saw that person. Oh, you got an email from that person. You need to work with that person. That person needs to help you. Like,
Yes.
and so we've got to take an active part in doing those things.
Right.
Like,
It's taking the inspired action. So, yes,
mhm.
if you take those inspired actions, it's going to come to you so much faster
Yes.
than if you were just to sit there and wait, right? So, like, I took the inspired actions of getting our house ready, putting it on the market,
Mhm.
like doing the research, securing and getting my business, right? That I was stepping into full time
Mhm.
into ready for me to do that. So I could maintain all the things, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
there's so much more that goes into it, but it's really also then we had to detach from the income. It's or the outcome, right? It's
Yep.
like detaching from the outcome,
Yeah,
like, okay, if this doesn't happen, I will be okay. Like I knew
exactly.
we had a place to live. We were fine at my mom's. Was it ideal? It was fine when we were there, but that wasn't gonna be a permanent solution, right?
No.
But I knew
Yes.
without a shadow of doubt that it would come. So,
Yep.
and it did, right? Because I
Yep.
held that belief. So, so good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I
Well,
know even for me in my 11th hour, I was like, you know what? If it doesn't work, I will figure it out.
yeah,
And but I already knew. But there was this part of me that was just that final letting go. Like, you know what? If it doesn't work, we'll figure it out and I'll figure
yeah,
something else out. And I've always been able to do that and I'll do it again. Like,
for
so,
sure.
it's amazing. It's just amazing to me. I love watching energy flow. And,
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but I enjoy watching my clients learn how to let their energy flow. This has got to be like one of the most amazing things. And to me, in the manifestation world, we'll bring it back into the healing. to me, this is one of the biggest healing journeys as well,
Yes.
too, because when we step into this, learning to trust the universe, learning to follow those intuitive hits, we have to let go of
Hmm.
so much stuff that we have been taught and so many things that have happened to you. And what is your money stories, and what are your
Right.
stories with receiving, and what are your stories with being happy and joyful and open and abundant, and what does all that mean to you? And we have got to work through all of those things in order
Yeah.
to create that life. And so to me, it is such a healing journey to really step into the manifestation world and to work with our fears and work with our nervous system and really let those things fall off, really,
Right.
and
It is a
step into
healing
a new way
journey.
of being.
Yeah, you're so right because it's really about identifying those limiting beliefs, those things, those
Mhm.
patterns that we've been conditioned to our whole lives and
Yes,
reprogramming them, which is healing. It's healing in its own
it's
way,
so
right?
healing. Yes.
So I have loved this conversation.
Yeah.
If you, Gina, have any last words of wisdom or a piece of advice that you would like to leave the listeners with today, I would love for you to share that. If you have anything, even if it's just a short and sweet like statement, I would love for you to do that.
Well, I just don't ever want anybody to give up. Step into your dream world and know that you can have whatever you want and desire, and that the journey is part of the fun. So, it doesn't feel that way sometimes, but that journey is part of the process here, and it can be part of the fun. So, don't ever give up on your dreams. Step into this desired life that you always want, and know that you're already worthy of it. So that would be my final words.
Beautiful. And I would love for you to share, how do you work with people? Like what kind of sessions do you do or containers, and how can people find you?
So you can find me on my website at ginastrole.com. So we can put all that in the notes later.
Yes.
And I'm all over social media. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok and YouTube. I'm like, am I anywhere? Oh, threads. We've added threads in there. I'm like, if we added anything else, as Gina Strole Intuitive Healing. So I work with people inside of private coaching and group coaching programs. So I have a Rise program that's a year-long program that I work with women inside of there, and men. I shouldn't just say I will only work with women, because that simply isn't true. But
Hmm.
we work with everybody inside of there, and it's a 12-month program to really healing all parts of your life. So we work on abundance, we work on our health, our manifestation, our energy containers. We do it all inside of there. So that's how I work with people. So I
Beautiful.
love having all these beautiful containers that we have.
Yeah, amazing. And I will definitely share all of the links in the description below. So make sure to reach out to Gina if you want to check her out, her work, and become part of her community. So thank you so much for today, this conversation. It was so fun. I love talking about manifestation. Obviously, it's my jam.
It's my jam.
But it was just so refreshing to talk about it because I actually don't talk about it as much anymore, especially on these episodes. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure to be here.
For sure. Thank you. And we will see you all next time on the Light Council series. Take care, everyone.